In this video, we are going to continue with the discussion that we had around report writing in one of those earlier videos. If you have not gone through the earlier video, I would request you to go to my YouTube channel. You will find that video over there. So that was the first half on report writing, and today we are going to continue from where we have ended the last time, right? So there are a few aspects which I would like to cover in today's video. Which is obviously going to be around report writing. So the first one is that you should avoid repetition, right? When you are writing a report, it's very important that we don't repeat the same set of words and some specific aspects which we have already discussed at some place, right? So let's take an example. So as over here we see that on 7th of November 2020 and 18th of November 2020, XYZ Senior Manager Finance provided the relevant information in this report and provided the relevant information during the management discussion. So if you're writing sentences like this, it means that you are repeating a lot of stuff, right? So what should be an ideal way of placing this? So you can write in this manner that we have collated all the relevant information provided in this report during our management discussions held on 7th and 18th of November 2020 with XYZ Senior Manager Finance. So in that way, you are not repeating the same set of words, which is not really the right way of placing across when you are writing a report, right? So this is one example. Let's see another one. So over here, as we see that suppose I've seen many people writing in this manner that in FY 1920 the revenue of the company increased by 20.23% in mainly increased on account of increase in revenue from the water component business and sales of service, something of this sort. So it can be avoided and can be framed in this manner that the revenue of the company scaled northwards by 20.23%. In FY 1920, the increase was largely on account of a rise in the turnover from the water component business and sale of services, right? So there is a subtle way of placing words, and that is what I'm trying to place across through this video, right? Then avoid use of strong languages. So words like squarely or strongly believe, without any doubt, very clearly, sheer, etc. should generally be avoided unless their use is inevitable, right? So in that context, you can replace that with words like is a near certainty or there is a good case to argue. So don't get very strong in terms of using your words. It has to be in a very mild, in a subtle way, so that it gets pleasant to read through for the person who is actually going through a report, right? Then there are 4 optical pillars of a well-drafted report which you have to take care of. So please ensure that the spellings are accurate. If the spellings are not correct in any report, that is not something which really goes well with the reader. There shouldn't be any typos. So please ensure that you reread the report a number of times to ensure that there are no typos. In certain cases, there is a maker and checker concept. In many companies, you have that. So someone who drafts the report is not the person who actually checks it. So there is another person who checks the report, and that is how you can avoid this sort of a situation. Then the articulation should be crisp. There shouldn't be verbose of a lot of, like, you shouldn't try to place across a lot of things without giving the crisp objective with which you are trying to write the report, right? So the articulation should be very crisp, and there shouldn't be no grammatical errors, right? It should be avoided at the best you can, right? So these are called the optical pillars. Optics, that is where from the word comes up. So these are the set of things. If it is getting reflected in the report, then it doesn't really come up well to the reader. And then whatever effort that you have taken in terms of doing the research and pulling the pieces of information, collating everything and placing it across, all goes haywire if these sort of challenges gets reflected in the report. So make make the best of your effort to ensure that this set of things are well taken care of. Then let us understand on the formatting of the report. So maintain consistency in bullets. That is very important. There should be proper line spacing when you are placing across from the paragraphs and all. You should ensure that there is equal line spacing across the different lines, as well as there should be proper paragraph spacing. There should be word spacing. You use the same font type, the font color. All these things has to be really taken well care of, right, when you are drafting a report. I understand these may be certain things which you already know of, but then I'm still reiterating so that you don't miss out on anything. And also the font size. Then have short sentences. So 9 to 15 words is the maximum words in which you should complete a sentence. So avoid use of conjunctions to join two sentences. So this is the most common cause for which we write longish sentences. So try to avoid something like the company also plans to venture into manufacture of medical equipment components, and hence it is in negotiation. So avoid this sort of conjunctions so that you can break it up into two different sentences, and it gets more readable for the reader, right? Then use brackets or fragmented bullet points effectively. So this you have to use in case of unavoidably long sentences. Mundane clarifactory aspects of the sentence could be pushed into brackets, like as on 31st March 2020 the company had of the balance sheet liabilities amounting to this, which is around 63% of its tangible net worth as on the balance sheet date, right? So this is how you can bracket it off, and this is how you avoid that structural difficulty of reading through a longish sentence, right? And use the brackets, fragmented bullets. Okay, so over here, like you see, the company has been awarded ISO certification by Bureau Veritas certification body for the services related to information technology consulting, development, maintenance. So it's like a lot of verbose, right? It doesn't get very easy for the person who is actually reading. So what you have to do in this sort of a situation is you have to break it up. So you can say the company has been awarded this certification by Bureau Veritas certification body for the services relating to information technology, consulting, development, maintenance, and all this stuff, right? So this is going to be the right way of placing across in this sort of a scenario where you cannot avoid mentioning certain things, but then it has to be broken down so that it is quite readable for the reader who is actually going through the report, right? Then there are 4 pillars of report writing which you should focus on. The first one, it should have a good flow. The language should be good. There should be clarity of thought that should come up, and there should be proper formatting. So these are considered to be the 4 pillars of report writing: good flow, good language, clarity of thought, and proper formatting. So please ensure that when you are drafting the report, you are taking consideration in context of these 4 pillars. As I have already touched upon many stuff in my earlier video around report writing, as well as in this video, keep all those aspects in mind when you're drafting it. Also keep note on certain things, like try to derive clear conclusions, caveat, ring fence yourself well, where you cannot give a clean and clear view, but do not be elusive in certain situations, right? So if you're writing on something on which you are not having clear conclusions, it happens sometimes, right? So please ensure that you give a perspective that this is what I think basis this sort of research that I have done, and maybe I am not able to give you a concrete understanding around things, but this is the max which I can provide within the constraint of my research or the data elements that you have, right? But don't shy away from the fact that you had faced certain challenges when you are drafting the report, right? Also approach the report section by section. Treat each section as a report in itself. Finish off at least one section in every sitting and do not leave any section unfinished. Such a micro approach will ensure quality and also give you the flexibility to complete the report in piecemeal. Further, you reconnect each time with the report will be optimal, right? So this is the approach you should really follow when you are sitting across for writing the report. The perspective should be to provide everything that is relevant in a concise manner. Never try to increase the size of the report by providing unwanted matter. Use short sentences, have short paragraphs, have as much analytical content as possible using tables and diagrams whenever you can, right? Also, a complex piece of text or analysis should always be accompanied by a crisp diagram or flowchart, which I mentioned earlier as well, explaining the same. The focus should always be to convey the matter in a simplistic and reader-friendly manner. Avoid vintage English, especially with a foreign audience like hitherto, albeit, and stuff like that. Try to avoid this sort of languages. Be careful in using acronym, short form usage, consistency, no typos, and should be clearly understood by the reader. Use strong connectors like having regard to the above, in view thereof, in light of the above, accordingly, further, thereapart, consequently, in line therewith, hence, in addition to the above. So these are certain strong connectors which you may use in order to emphasize the set of things that you are trying to place across. The weak connectors gets to be like so, because of the above, also, thus, going ahead. So these are weak connectors. That is how it is considered, right? So focus on this set of strong connectors out there, right? So these are certain aspects which I thought of sharing across with you in this video of report writing. I would also try to think more in terms of anything further I may add on, and if at all I can, I will add that in this specific video, right? I mean to say some other video in context of report writing, right? I hope it adds value to you guys. If you like this, give me a like, share, subscribe, and motivate me in terms of so that I can come up with such videos. And also, please, if you can let me know on what other aspects you would like to me to give you certain insights or inputs which would be of help to you, right? See you in some other video. Thanks a lot.